The seventh child of Ella Lee DeBow and John Walter Freed, DeBow Freed was born in 1925 at his family home in Henderson, Tennessee. Young DeBow's greatest influence was his mother, who often quoted Shakespeare and told him, "If you understand Shakespeare, you understand life." She also spoke Latin and wrote letters to DeBow exclusively in the language. According to her, if you wanted to understand the English language, take Latin. As a Tennessee farm boy, DeBow learned the importance of rising early, working hard, and dedicating himself to the service of others. He traveled to school daily with an hour bus ride each way, returning home that evening to continue with farm chores. His strong work ethic was also evident in school, where he was recognized as a natural leader, voted class president, and graduated with honors from Gallatin High School. At age 17, DeBow entered the West Point Military Academy at the appointment of Tennessee Congressman Albert Gore Sr. DeBow was frequently invited to visit the Gore family home on weekends, where he would socialize with the congressman and his young son, future United States Vice President Al Gore. After graduating West Point in 1946 at age 20, DeBow was commissioned in the infantry, where he served overseas for 2 years in Japan. He returned to the U.S. in 1948 to be aide to the commander of the 17th Airborne Division at Virginia's Camp Pickett. According to DeBow, the best thing in his life happened here. He met the daughter of Army physician Prentice L. Moore, who was chief medical officer at the camp. Catherine Carroll Moore, also known as Kitty, was a highly intelligent blue bonnet belle from a prominent military family. And while DeBow frequently remarked that she could have done much better with other suitors who eagerly wanted her hand, she and DeBow married a year later in 1949. On the second day of their honeymoon, they were given immediate military orders to serve in Europe. Traveling apart on a crowded troop ship, DeBow and Kitty landed in Germany and eventually in Iran, where Kitty would learn to speak German and Farsi. She soon served as a translator, including to then member of the U.S. House of Representatives John F. Kennedy. DeBow would often credit Kitty for their many opportunities to serve. Well-educated and talented, she taught at colleges near their stations and held many leadership positions in those communities, a prequel of what was to come. In 1953, while DeBow was still stationed in Iran, their son, DeBow II, also known as Buzz, was born in San Antonio, Texas. Buzz was a gifted student who would memorize encyclopedias as a child and went on to become an outstanding scientist. He was the first person to attend medical school and Rice University at the same time. Rice would also award him the rare distinction of receiving a doctorate degree without requiring a bachelor's or master's. DeBow continued to be promoted in rank, from captain to major, and served a tour of duty in Korea. He then returned to the U.S. and attended the Army Command and Staff College at Fort Leavenworth, Kansas, and the Air War College at Maxwell Air Force Base in Alabama. It was during this time Lieutenant Colonel Freed found his calling as an educator, teaching at an infantry school in Fort Benning, Georgia. He would soon earn a Ph.D. in nuclear science at the University of New Mexico while still on active military duty. As chief of the nuclear branch of the Defense Atomic Support Agency, he became the principal briefer on atomic and nuclear matters for military, congressional, and other national visiting groups for 3 years. While serving a tour in Vietnam, he was assigned to the West Point faculty to help modernize the physics program and initiate an academic major in nuclear engineering. He did this with great success. The Freeds greatly enjoyed military service, but believed they could expand their commitment to lifelong public service and make a bigger impact on young lives in private, church-related higher education. In 1969, Dr. Freed retired from active duty as colonel. He served a total of 23 years and spent many of those years overseas in various U.S. states and held many honors. Among those honors included Commendation Medals, Legion of Merits, the Bronze Star Medal, Air Medal, and Joint Service Commendation Awards. In 1987, with West Point graduates nearing 47,000 cadets, Dr. Freed was solely chosen by the Army Chief of Staff and the West Point Superintendent as the model for study. This led to the Academy adding a fifth purpose of a West Point cadet's education titled, "To aspire to a lifetime of service to the nation." This purpose was directly attributed to Dr. DeBow Freed. West Point later dedicated a room at the Thayer Hotel to Dr. Freed in 2012, and his story is featured among notable West Point graduates, including Buzz Aldrin and General Douglas MacArthur in the book West Point Leadership: Profiles of Courage. After his military service, Dr. Freed transitioned into private higher education at Mount Union College in Alliance, Ohio, where he was appointed dean of the college by his longtime mentor, President Ronald Weber. Dr. Weber would later serve as a development consultant at Ohio Northern University, where he became an important fixture in the community and in ONU's history. After leaving Mount Union, Dr. Freed would serve the next 32 years as a college or university president. He would spend those years positively influencing the lives of young people. He presented diplomas to over 20,000 graduates. Many of those students he would know by name due to his commitment of caring and to his and Mrs. Freed's tradition of opening their home to garden receptions for incoming freshmen and their families. All of the institutions he served prospered greatly under his leadership. As president of Monmouth College in Illinois, he turned an institution struggling with enrollment and finances into a stabilized environment where he balanced the budget and doubled the annual giving in just 5 years. Seeing an opportunity to help another uniquely troubled institution, Dr. Freed was offered the presidency at Ohio Northern University. On Christmas Eve 1979, with no contract signed and 2 trucks of furniture in tow, the Freeds arrived at Ohio Northern, where Dr. Freed would be president for the next 20 years. Under Dr. Freed's leadership, enrollment at ONU skyrocketed. 15 new majors were added, and athletics and the arts grew tremendously. The budget was balanced annually, and the endowment grew to more than $100 million. The campus was beautified and underwent building expansions, including the construction of a sports center and a brand new performing arts center that would eventually be noted as the crown jewel of ONU. Named in honor of Dr. and Mrs. Freed, the Freed Center for the Performing Arts has hosted hundreds of events that have enriched the Ohio Northern community. For more than 25 years, world-renowned entertainers, laureates, and companies have graced the stages of the Freed Center, and thousands of students and alumni have benefited from the experiences. The elegance of the Freed Center and its importance to ONU fully reflect the dedication of DeBow and Catherine Freed. By the time Dr. Freed retired from the university in 1999, ONU was named one of the top 10 colleges in the country by U.S. News and World Report. One alumnus recalled Dr. Freed's tireless working days at ONU. If you were an early riser, you'd see him jogging the Green Monster about sunrise prior to his early arrival at his desk. Oftentimes, you'd see his office light burning well into the night. Not surprisingly, retirement did not suit Dr. Freed. Another opportunity came calling at nearby University of Findlay. Once again, Dr. Freed stabilized the institution financially, which allowed construction of an animal science building and an addition to the Mazza Museum, which features art from children's books. The Catherine Freed Galleria displays newly acquired artwork in the museum and was named in honor of Mrs. Freed. The DeBow and Catherine Freed Contemporary Christian Lecture Series Endowment, which welcomes nationally known speakers exploring Christian responses to contemporary issues, was established in their honor. And for the first time, a pharmacy major was instituted at the university under his leadership. He retired from the presidency in 2010, leaving yet another institution in better condition than when he arrived. Dr. Freed's commitment to care and concern was also evident through his philanthropic nature. He served as head of state and regional academic, scientific, service, and athletic organizations. He was trustee of a regional hospital, a symphony orchestra, center of science and industry, and was even a bank director. Additionally, Dr. and Mrs. Freed helped fund the annual ONU Holiday Spectacular, and they quietly and generously supported the village of Ada, the ONU Marching Band, and numerous other activities and organizations. He was elected an Ohio Commodore, received proclamations for his leadership and service from Ohio governors, the Ohio House of Representatives, and the Ohio Senate. Dr. Freed had lifetime appointments as President Emeritus of Ohio Northern University and the University of Findlay, and had an office on each campus, always keeping regular office hours Monday through Saturday. He and Mrs. Freed maintained a home in Ada, 2 doors down from the president's home in which they lived during their term at ONU. In 2014, Dr. and Mrs. Freed suffered the great loss of their lives as their son DeBow II lost his brave 5-year battle with cancer. Kitty and Buzz shared a special bond throughout their lives, and every day she would receive a phone call from him. In 2016, after a long illness, Mrs. Freed passed away at their home in Ada. Both Kitty and DeBow II are laid to rest at West Point National Cemetery. On February 8, 2020, Dr. DeBow Freed passed away peacefully and comfortably at his residence in Ada. He will be buried at West Point National Cemetery alongside Kitty and Buzz. In his 94 years, Dr. Freed spent his life in the service and commitment to others. His remarkable achievements are secondary only to his unwavering kindness. Commitment, service, character, leadership. Husband, father, soldier, educator, leader. Discipline, kindness, Christian care and concern. These are his legacy. Our job is to now carry it forward.